Hi, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Monday, and we are in the last couple of weeks of November. Won't be long till it'll be that American Thanksgiving, and you know, from there on to Christmas, it's just a blur. So we're getting into the season where a lot of different holidays are being celebrated, and a lot of gift giving. So I thought this week we'd take a look at some nice box sets that might be something that people on your list would have an interest in. I know last year we alternated between seasonal music and box sets, and the box sets seem to be quite popular. So again, we're going to take a look at some options for gift giving. Today being jazz, we're going to go back and revisit some albums by trumpeter Miles Davis. You can see I have a 4 CD set here of Miles' work. Now, during the show, I've covered Miles a couple times, and mainly I'm focusing on his electric period from, let's say, 1969 through to his sabbatical, mid-70s. And I didn't really cover a lot of material ahead of that, other than a reference to Kind of Blue and Birth of the Cool, two landmark albums he'd produced back in the 1950s. This CD set covers a lot of older material, really getting back to the roots. We've got, I'll show you what we have here. One called Something Else, featuring Cannonball Adderley, Miles Davis, Hank Jones, Sam Jones, and Art Blakey on drums. So we've talked about Art before with a feature just on him. Now on the album we've got Autumn Leaves, Love for Sale, Something Else, one for Daddy-O, Dancing in the Dark, and Allison's Uncle. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of a glare on there, so I'll change that around for the next album. This was recorded in March 9th, 1958. Okay, the second album, and this is part of an album set I've seen before in the record stores back when I used to buy the records. And again, it was, well, there's two volumes, Volume 1, Volume 2, on Blue Note. Yeah, we'll just take a look here. Volume 1, featuring Miles Davis, J.J. Johnson on trombone, and J.J. also played on Birth of the Cool, if you remember. Jackie McLean, Gil Goggins, Oster Pettiford on bass, and Kenny Clark on drums. Now this album, we've got a lot more tunes, 15 tunes on here, more of your standard jazz fare. So we've got Dear Old Stockholm, Chance It, an alternate take, and there's a few alternate takes on here, which sometimes are fun as well. The original Chance It, Donna, an alternate take with the original Donna, Woody and You, and an alternate take of Woody and You, Yesterday's How Deep Is the Ocean, Take Off, Lazy Susan, The Leap, Well You Needn't, nice to throw a little Monk in there, Weirdo, and It Never Entered My Mind. And there's the cover again. Then we go to Volume 2, very similar cover. We've changed the colors a little bit. The lineup, well, we've got Miles Davis, we've got J.J. on trombone again, Jimmy Heath on tenor sax, Gil Goggins piano, Percy Heath on bass, and Art Blakey on drums. So we had a little bit of a personnel change on this one. And this one again, some alternate takes. We got Kello by J.J. Johnson. We got two versions of that. We've got the song Enigma, another J.J. Johnson tune. We've got two versions of that. Ray's Idea by Ray Brown, two versions of that. And Tempest Fugit by Bud Powell. We talked about Bud Powell way back in the greatest jazz concert ever, the one they held in Toronto, Massey Hall. I think it's under the Dizzy Gillespie episode. It was Bud Powell, Charlie Mingus, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, all getting together and performing an impromptu concert. We've got CTA by Jimmy Heath, two versions of that, and I Waited for You by Dizzy Gillespie. Now a lot of alternate takes. I mean, the solo's a bit different, the feel's a little different. It's kind of nice to have those options. You may not have heard some of these, because sometimes the alternate takes only appear on certain albums. And again, these are two of a set. We got Volume 1, Volume 2, and they were both on Blue Note. Okay, then we move into the classic album, and this is kind of like a centerpiece of the set. It is the album Birth the Cool. A landmark album for Davis, getting away from that heated playing of bebop into something a little more laid back, a little more relaxed. None of that high notes and fast runs. It's a whole different style of music he introduced people to. Now on this one, we've got, I think we got quite a lineup, because I remember it was a little different. Some of the names we would have recognized from before. A lot of Gerry Mulligan's influence in this one. Now, let's just go down the list. I've got song Move. We got the song Jeru by Gerry Mulligan. Moon Dreams. Venus de Milo by Gerry Mulligan. Budo by Bud Powell and Miles Davis. And Deception by Miles Davis. We also continue on with Godchild by George Waddington. Publicity by Cleo Henry. Rocker, another Gerry Mulligan tune. Israel by Johnny Carisi. Rouge by John Lewis. And Darn That Dream, a vocal in there. Now, recorded in a couple of different sessions. We've got recording January 21st in 1949. Here's the lineup. It was Miles Davis on trumpet. Kai Winding on trombone. Junior Collins, French horn. John Barber, tuba. Lee Konitz on tenor sax, on alto sax. Mulligan on baritone sax. Al Haig on piano. Joe Shulman on bass, and Max Roach on drums. For another lineup, for a couple of tunes here, they did Venus de Milo, Publicity, Israel, and Rouge. We had a recording 22nd of April 1949, so a little bit later. And this time it's Miles, J.J. Johnson on trombone again, which we just mentioned before, Sandy Siegelstein on French horn, John Barber tuba, Lee Konitz on alto sax again, Mulligan on baritone, John Lewis on piano, Nelson Boyd on bass, and Kenny Clark on drums this time. So we had Max Roach, never done Kenny Clark. And Moon Dreams, Deception, Rocker, and Darn That Dream. They were recorded in March of 1950. And Miles, J.J. Johnson again on trombone. We got Gunther Schuller, French horn. Now you may remember him from the, what was it? He was head of a music department. I'm not going to say Eastman. It was up in the New England area. We've got John Barber on tuba, Lee Konitz on alto, Gerry Mulligan on baritone sax, and Al McKibben on bass, Max Roach on drums, and Kenny Haygood on vocals. So all four of these CDs from the early period, all pre-1950 when Birth the Cool made its appearance. And a whole different style of Miles than anything we've talked about on the previous shows. Again, we were back into the electric period, dealing more with 1970s. So now we're looking at the pre-1950s. And a great gift for any jazz fan, especially a trumpet player on your list. It came as a box set here. It says Miles, Blue Note, and Capitol Records. Their recordings. And 4 CD set. So, there's one for you. Stick it under the tree or wherever you put your gifts for this gift-giving season. And I'm sure any trumpet player or jazz fan, happy to receive it. Okay, that's it for Monday. Back on Wednesday with a classic rock offering. Hope to see you then. Till then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for stopping by.